Welcome back, everybody, to WCS Challenger Day 2 here live from Cologne in Germany, where I am in the studio with my dear friend Litot. We just casted one of the absolute most legendary TVT series of all time. Unfortunately, they should get a little bit unlucky, but I'm excited, Todd. This is going to be really fun. We're getting ready for our second series. It's going to be a TVZ. It's Liquid's very own Bunny going up against Starbuck, and I think this has potential to be a lot closer than I think a lot of people expect it to be.
You think so?
Yes. You know why?
You're going to tell me.
Yes, because Starbuck actually defeated a couple of very good Terrans recently, making it into Challenger. He played in the last chance qualifier, defeated our very good dear old friend, the Muslim, Benjamin Baker, 2-1, and after that he defeated Beastie Cutie, who I always felt is an underrated Terran player.
Okay, so who are the very good Terrans then?
Beastie and the Muslim. 2-0, 2-1. I think that's solid. If you can defeat those guys, I think you can put up a very good fight against Bunny.
Yeah.
Bunny probably looked at that as well, probably went through the VODs, looked at those results.
I think they're good, but Bunny's supposed to be on another level, though.
Yes, I mean, I'm not going to argue that Bunny is better than the Muslim and Beastie Cutie, but I think you can take a lot of confidence out of something like that. And, you know, Starbuck, he's been a little bit of a wild card. Like, I know you've played against him a couple times in your days where you still used to be an active and respected player.
Still Grandmaster, though.
Okay.
Which not the same can be said about you. No, like, Starbuck is a little bit of a wild player. I remember this one DreamHack where he was playing against First, and he was doing a lot of on Nimbus. He nidused just because the distance in cross map was like too far to go there and do an attack. He nidused his opponent and killed him right out, and he won the series against First, which back then was a pretty big name in the European scene as a Korean there. So he's definitely one of those guys that's capable of mixing in a lot of special builds, but in ZVT, can you really do that? I don't know.
I remember one of the first times that Starbuck ever made an impression on me, I was like, hey, who's this guy? This is really cool. Is that I think he made a drone pool on Habitation Station.
Oh, yeah.
And he did the stacking thing, you remember? So it looked like there was like one happy little drone going across the map, and then the moment they attacked the pylon, suddenly it's like, surprise! It's like 17 drones. Yeah. He was one of the first players that did that on Habitation. I completely forgot against who it was. It could have been MC, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it's going to be our second best of 5 of the day. It's going to be Denmark versus Slovenia. Starbuck versus Bunny. The first map is going to be played on Terraform, and I'm ready for it. Because yesterday, Todd, the TVZ that we saw between Hero Marine and Red, lovely.
Yeah, TVZ very high up there in terms of being one of the most entertaining matchups, very action-packed, except for the first few minutes. But let's get into it, Roddy. We're on Terraform here for map number 1 between these two guys.
Did you see in Into Extreme Masters China when Artosis and me, we were blindfolded and we did the introduction and then we hopped into the game? We can go ahead and hop into Terraform. It's all good. Go for it, boss. There we go. And then we took the blindfolds off as soon as, you know, we hopped into a game. And then Artosis said, well, if this was a TVZ, I would keep it on for the first 8 minutes because I think I can dream it. Either way, over here on the right bottom side, we have the man who made it to the semi-finals of WCS Premier League Season 1 and 2. A very impressive performance. It's, of course, Liquid's very own Bunny, who I believe to be, Todd, but correct me if I'm wrong, in the new Team Liquid Gaming House at the moment in Utrecht, in the Netherlands.
I heard about it. I'm not sure if he's there yet, but
I think Harstem is there, Snoot is there. I saw a picture of Red being there, so I think there's a very good chance that Bunny is there as well. That is one hell of a cool gaming house, by the way. I can't wait to... I would actually love to drop by.
You know who's, so to speak, done a gaming house as well that's nobody really know about? Some of the French
Mr. Bitter?
No. Everybody knew about this one. It wasn't. It was more a frat house, like the EG house. No, actually, the French Protestants, they made like they're all practicing together right now. T Drogo, DNS, and Lilbo. They are living and practicing together. That's very interesting, especially knowing that DNS he has a challenger match coming up later on against Kung Fu Panda. Yeah.
I mean, that's great, actually, if you have a PvP challenger match and you live together with Lilba and Petit Drogo.
He's sitting between them.
That's great. You just soak it all up. Over here on the left top side of Terraform, hailing from Slovenia, it is Starbuck. Definitely a crazy Zerg, from what I've seen, but has a couple of very good results speaking for himself. I think Bunny takes this match obviously very serious. When I think of Bunny, I always think of such a dedicated to professional, you know, just not a crazy guy, doesn't do anything out of the ordinary, never just not plays for a week because, you know, he just doesn't feel like it or something. I feel that Bunny generally enjoys the game and is always very hardworking, and he's always so calm and collected. And then I really like the attitude that Bunny shows towards pro gaming in general, and obviously the beautiful game that we like to play and watch.
He never let himself actually, get depressed by any of the, I guess, the events in his career. Got called a slave by Naniwa in an interview in that WCS season when Naniwa had won his match and was supposed to give credits. That was kind of a thank you in the Naniwa words back then. And then later on, he had some very tough losses. The loss to Polt in the semi-finals earlier in Poitiers was devastating. Like,
so close to making it to the finals of the
he was
biggest,
really devastated after that one. You know what? I saw him at the train station later on. He was like, I'm just going to go home, practice for the next events. And every time that's what he does. And he comes back stronger and stronger. He really built himself as one of the best foreigners, if not the best.
Yep. I mean, it's bizarre as well when in WCS Premier League Season 2 he made it to the quarterfinals. He goes up against Stardust. And I just look at that match. And for me, Bunny is a favorite going into that. I said it to everyone. I think Bunny is going to defeat Stardust. And he did in a pretty decisive manner. Now, I also thought that he was going to defeat Lilbao. And I was wrong in that occasion. And I think that is a loss that perhaps even hurt more than the TVT loss he had against Polt. Because, if you're in the semi-finals and you go up against another European and you've been, mentioned as the best European for a while, especially if Snoot is, not playing his A++ game, everyone has always been looking at Bunny to be the next foreign hope. Then having such a huge opportunity to make it into the finals of WCS Premier League Season 2. And let's not forget WCS points, man. He could have had a few more than he currently has. And I believe he's still the highest ranked foreigner at the moment.
Do you think that was more disappointing for him?
Yes.
I think the opposite.
You think?
Because like your first big disappointment is like, definitely the biggest one a lot of the time. It's like your first love, man.
Yeah, they do cut deep. But not the deepest though.
And also, like, if he had beat Polt, it's like he had beat Polt and then was in the finals. Whereas if he had beat Lilbo, as good as Lilbo is, it's not the same as beating, multiple tournament champions. So we can ask him later and find out, I guess. But either way.
He was like, hey, congratulations, Bunny. You just made it into Premier League. So
Quick
what was your
question,
biggest disappointment? It's like, wow, guys, you really suck at your job. It's like, sorry, Bunny, we just had an argument. Either way, let's pay attention to the build orders for now, as we saw very economic openings on both sides. 36 drones at the moment for Starbuck. Roach Warren is going down. He's getting a couple spines as well. He went up to 3 bases very quickly.
Yeah. And getting to the Roach one there, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to make a few of those. He's going to have to start a bunch of building. He has sent some of these drones. Not ideal.
Yeah, but I mean, he's up to 3 bases so quick. I mean, it's almost uncommon in this day and age to see 3 hat-trees that quickly. But of course, Starbucks saw the opening of Bunny and just kind of felt like he can get away with it for now. Bunny's going to sacrifice his Hellions. May get a couple drone kills over here. Got 2 already for its efforts. 1 more. Man, this one queen is just like running behind his Hellion, chasing it. It was so for such a long time. It just needed 1 hit to die.
No queen in the main.
There's a Roach.
One more kill.
Still no layer for Starbuck. I'm a little bit surprised by this thought. Man, these
Hellions did a lot.
Yeah, I know.
This guy never dies.
Oh my god. Both Hellions were like cruising around on a certain point with like 1 HP, but they still managed to get 1 or 2 additional drone kills.
Do you think that this map really favors Bunny in his style, that he loves to rally units across the map and basically go for the pain train of never-ending Marines?
I think this is a good map. So once, because there are multiple moments where you can set yourself up very good as a Terran, right? Especially because of these narrow choke points and these multiple side blockers, makes it a little bit dangerous for Zerglings and Banelings to just run around, because you never really know what's on the other side of the side blocker. Either way, missile attacks is on their way. We've already seen a couple roaches out on the map. I thought maybe those are just defensive roaches to deal with these Hellions, but that is not the case. Starbuck is going to actually commit to this for now.
Yeah, with getting such an early 3rd base here by Starbuck, I'm actually wondering if he might go for like a Roach Bane attack, which usually Zergs used to do with double Evo, but you could also do it without. I guess with only missile though. Is it really good? Do you think he's leaning more towards that or more towards like Roach Hydra Viper or something?
I'm not sure if we're going to see Vipers. I think it's going to be maybe an in-between. I kind of have the feeling that maybe Starbuck wants to play a little bit of old school Hyun style, where It just comes down to having a ridiculous amount of roaches, zerglings, and banelings, and you just keep overwhelming the Terran force. You never really give them the time to actually micro and even try to stutter step and whatnot. Look at the amount of roaches on the production tab right now. Bunny's also making adjustments, Todd. He's getting a couple tanks. Tanks not the most popular unit in this day and age in this matchup, but of course against heavy roach play, you can't really go wrong with tanks.
Yeah. It's going to be hard, though, to set up a defensive position with tanks between the natural and third base. I think Starbuck's probably going to rely on that a lot. Look at this. He's already getting burrowed there. If he was to get turned in class, actually, there is a chance this might really surprise Bunny.
A couple of these units are a little bit out of position. There's a run by as well on the other side of the map. Let's take a small look at that. As this mineral line is completely exposed.
Wow.
Starbuck dealing the first blow over here. Thought he was going to get a little bit more done. Well, he's not done yet. He's actually going to be able to get these Marines as well. And we'll get a few more SCVs for his effort. What a great little run by. Defending a drop and killing 8 SCVs. That's great.
He was a little bit behind in the walker count, but now he's really caught back up. He's one ahead. And still no transition inside there. No Hydra Den, no Spire, no Baning Nest, just pure roaches.
That is the thing I'm the most worried about, though, Todd. That the fact that there is no Baneling Nest.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got so many roaches that if he attacks, he actually could be really scary.
Yeah, 37 roaches. Does not have Tolerant Claws, though. Picks up a bunch of Marines over here. This is very nice. If you want to make an attack with roaches like this, the last thing you want to do is worry about medevacts on your side of the map. One tank was very exposed. Will get picked up immediately. But there are quite a few buy units over here. And I kind of felt that, ooh, man, he just burrowed a couple of these roaches outside of range. Good burrow micro so far by Starbuck. He's on the money, though. I think he's going to be able to get a lot of SCVs here, but I actually think he wants to do more than just kill SCVs.
Yeah.
He probably just straight up wants to win the game, and I'm not sure if he has enough for that, because Bunny is very well prepared with all his tanks.
Yeah, Bunny doing a fantastic job here with the defense. Overextending, though. He chased a little bit far, even though he's trading against these roaches. He's going to scan.
That's a lot. I really think that Starbuck should give up over here and go for these SCVs instead. I think that would have been a much better choice. The longer he waits, the more likely it is that Bunny is going to be able to muster off enough units to actually defend and push these roaches away for now. So I think right now Bunny obviously has an excellent read on this game. He knows TVZ. He knows if a Zerx makes this many roaches and doesn't kill me, then all I have to do is stabilize. And from that point on, I'm going to be having a field day.
A very strong attack is coming in, though. And Bunny has had to steam so many times. Those Marines are going to start dying very quickly there. And those barracks going up there, they might actually get cancelled. And if he starts losing SCVs, he will be in trouble. It looks like he's going to have enough for now.
Yeah.
Starbuck needs to regroup. And Starbuck is only making units there. He's rallying only roaches and links across the map to try and keep on fighting non-stop against the army of Bunny.
I think there's just too much DPS right now in this Terran army. Another scan goes down, but Bunny, you've actually killed all the roaches. They're not hiding below the ground. You've killed the majority of them. And when a Terran player is up in supply against a player that's pretty much only making roaches, you know you did something right if your name is Bunny in this game. It looked a little dicey at a certain point, but I really think that Starbuck overextended. After he got this first tank here, I think he should have just ran up immediately, and he could have wiped out this mineral line on multiple occasions, and now I don't think he's ever going to be able to get it anymore. But then again, to counter my previous point, I think that Bunny just always, or excuse me, Starbuck always had the dreams and hopes of straight up winning the game rather than just killing 15 SCVs or so. How awesome that may be, it's not the same as just
these
winning the game.
roaches are trapped. They're not going to go anywhere. Bunny pulling really far ahead in supply. He actually scanned not too long ago in the bottom left-hand side to try and see if there was a fourth base, which was being taken elsewhere. And he scanned that roach, but he's not seeing it. And in the end, I don't think it's... Okay, now he sees it. Not going to matter. Look at this. Even though we have 2-0 upgrades from Starbuck, 2-2 is about to complete here for Bunny. And he's in a just fantastic position. This choice of going for a few tanks, they did help in the end. I was really worried that, you know, with the space that you have between the natural and third base, they were going to be out of position. But they forced a few bad fights out of Starbuck.
Bunny is going to try to do a little bit over here on the other side of the map. There are 2 hatcheries at once going down. This is probably the worst base ever to take for Starbuck, when you're not only playing against Marines and Hellions and you have roaches, but you could potentially be playing against tanks as well. Imagine if just 1 or 2 tanks siege up over here, you can just never mine from this base. But this base could be a big distraction of him actually taking the gold. That's something that Bunny has not scouted yet. And if Starbuck is just like, hey man, like, try to deny mining of my fort, okay? You know, this is all that's going on, really, I promise. You know, if Bunny wastes a lot of time over here, maybe Starbuck can get enough money out of this gold base, Todd.
Or he's fighting maybe a little bit too early there. He attacks as Bunny steams, and Bunny just has so much
army, I mean, so much DPS in all these Marines. These Marines are very well upgraded. They've got these 2-2 upgrades. They had a couple tanks there as well. And, you know, on top of that, Bunny has a ridiculous amount of medevacs. They were healing all of these Marines. So every single time they stimmed, they got back to full HP pretty much in absolute no time. Starbuck's going to try to make a final hold over here, Todd. He's going to bring a few more roaches and links, but I think this army of Bunny is just a little too powerful and has a little bit too much endurance for Starbuck to deal with over here in game number 1 on Terraform.
Yeah, Bunny doing fantastic here from start to finish. He's got a wave of red here going across the map. And in the end, just the pure roach style was, I guess, a pretty risky move, which in the end might be able to work against some Terrans, but Bunny just too good for it to work against him.
Yeah, I love the fact that Bunny reacted to it immediately with those defensive tanks. Bunny's always been kind of a reactive player as well. This is the first time he's going to spot the gold. Now he probably kind of smells. He's like, oh, you cheeky guy, you actually had the gold. This could have been bad. But in the end, I think you made a very good point earlier, Todd, that Starbuck took that fight a little too early. He didn't even have to fight over here on the other side of that mineral line because that base was kind of irrelevant. It was all about the gold base.
Yeah.
GG is going to be called as Starbuck realizes that pure roaches is just not going to cut it anymore against 180, 190 supply of well-upgraded bio units.
I thought you meant earlier, like when he was attacking on the other side of the map. I think he also fought maybe a little bit too early there. And like you were saying, he should have gone for the third base because the tanks weren't in range to shoot then. It would have been really hard for Bunny to actually fight. And I think like one of the things that a lot of players don't pay enough attention to is the amount of steams that a Terran can go for. When they go for this many Marines, you can engage, and then as the Terran steams, you run away. Then when steam runs out, you engage again. And by this time, like the Medivacs will have healed quite a bit, but not everything. And then they have to steam again. And the thing is, Medivacs run out of energy, even though like back then there wasn't that many of them.
No, I think you make a very good point. It's something I actually have recently started to pay attention to a little bit myself as well. It's like, so what if I make him stim and he just run away? Of course, if a Terran has like 10, 12 medevacs, then that doesn't really matter. But in a phase in the game like this, there were 2 medevacs out on the map, so they were already healing up units for a while. It's something that never really has been discussed, like medevac energy, but it's definitely something that can be abused if you play Zerg or Protoss, or even in a TVT, especially in the early critical game where there's maybe 4 medevacs and there isn't really a whole lot of energy. Terrans indeed do have to be pretty careful. And I think if Starbuck looks back at that game, he's probably like, well, you know, I'm playing against Bunny. It's a big match. I would love to do well, but you know, I have to be realistic over here. It's going to be difficult. I had chances though in game number 1. I could have done slightly more there. And there is a good chance as well that if he goes for that third base, and if he kills those 16, 17 SCVs, that Bunny is going to try to re-establish that base as quick as possible and may actually take a fight or two that's questionable against a lot of roaches because the tanks are not in range.
The thing is, when you go for this style, you really have to commit no matter what because you're only on roaches, you can't really shut down Medivac drops across the map. So maybe for a moment, I think Starbuck might have hesitated. He was like, if I go for the third base, even if I kill all of the SCVs, you can actually come with the Medivacs, pick them up and evacuate, and then retake it later on. But I need to go for the natural. Kill the tanks, then kill the Marines. That's what I need to do, because if I do that, I just win the game right out if I have too much and I swarm him. But in the end, there was enough tanks and Marines for Bunny to be able to defend, and I feel like it was an overextension to fight like Starbuck did it, and in the end, well, he paid the price for it because he was defended.
I mean, of course, Starbuck doesn't have the vision that we have. And since Bunny had 1 tank on the outside of the wall, basically on the other side of the wall, and Starbuck was able to snap it or pick it off immediately, then he saw that bunker, and maybe he's like, hey, I just got a tank for free. I see the other tank. If I get close enough there, then maybe I can pick up this tank too, even when it's behind the supply depots. And then suddenly there are no more tanks. But then further into the natural, Bunny just made non-stop tanks. He had 2 more tanks lined up over there. And from that point on, Starbuck was like, oh man, shoot, I can't actually bust this anymore, so I'm gonna have to run away. Then he showed some pretty cool burrow micro. I must say he was really fast. You know, when StarCraft 2 was just announced, Todd, and you as a Warcraft 3 player, I'm sure you remember the good old Crypt Fiends, right? Like how you always burrow them as undead. Yeah. Of course, Warcraft 3 is a very different game. You had fewer units. But I always thought that, like, as a Zerg, something we were going to see all the time was, like, roaches burrow and unburrow, like, individually, especially because they heal so fast. And you see it sometimes in ZVZ or ZVP if they're being all-in and there is no detection on the Proto side. But I'm actually surprised we don't see it more, that individual burrow micro.
Yeah, I think the thing is in StarCraft, like, you know, in Warcraft 3 you have a small army and you need to manage it pretty much all the time. In StarCraft you have like macro to do at the same time, and like you have so many units. Like the fights are really, really fast in comparison. So I guess it's pretty hard, but maybe someday, Roddy.
I mean, he was
Somebody
doing
will be good enough to not disappoint you with the burrow.
No, I definitely wasn't disappointed. I think Starbuck did pretty good with it, man. Like, I was just looking at it, I was like, oh, damn, he's fast, you know, like barrel on barrel, barrel on barrel. And I think at a certain point, Bunny got a little bit paranoid as well, because we saw him scan 2 times when there are actually no more burrowed roaches, you know. But so he definitely got into his mind with it a little bit. Either way, we are loaded into our second map of this best of 5, and I kind of feel that this is a map that has Starbuck written all over it, as we are, of course, looking at the main base of Starbuck, our Slovenian Zerg player, going up against Liquid's very own Bunny, the Danish Terran. I would almost say our Danish superstar, as he's made it to back-to-back semi-finals in WCS Premier League Season 1 and Season 2, is very high up there when it comes to those WCS points. If he makes it to a semi-final or a final in Season 3 and has a good run somewhere else, thought anything is still possible. Do you think we are going to have a non-Korean at BlizzCon this year?
I believe, Roddy.
You believe?
Yeah.
Cool. I believe.
There's a few of them in the running, right?
Yep. I mean, like Liubao, Bunny, and I would even still say Snoot, even though Snoot, of course, took a huge hit when he lost in the round of 32 last season. But it's still possible. He gathered a couple points at Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen. Well, there's another Intel Extreme Masters coming up. There's a Gfinity coming up. Plenty of points to be distributed.
Bunny is the closest by far, though.
Yeah, he's on the 18th spot currently in the ranking.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Then Lilbo 26, Snoot 28, and TLO 34. So definitely,
man, Tilo has a lot of points.
yeah, definitely the 4 guys here in the non-Korean scene.
Oh yeah, Tilo of course made back-to-back quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
Season 1 and Season 2. Yeah, actually it's been a great year for Daria when you put it like that. Of course, TLO will actually be playing in the next series, so this is a very big day for not just Team Liquid, but also for 2 guys that are still in the running for BlizzCon, even though it's a long shot, but it's always possible. Bunny opened up with the Reaper. I was a witness of the very first time that Bunny played on this map against Parting at Home Story Cup. And Bunny actually lost without killing a single unit because he didn't realize if Protoss builds their buildings over here on the edge of Dashin Terminal, Reapers can't hop into the main base. And as you guys can tell, the rush distance by air, it's pretty small. So if a mothership core just floats over, well, it was a very painful first experience on this map for Bunny. But by now he's had a couple weeks of practice. Do you play this map a lot, Todd?
Well, when I get it on ladder, so not that much actually in comparison with most of the other maps I feel. And I've had a few weird experiences with like Terrans flying to the gold, or even like you know, people really using that area behind the middle line where like you can attack. But I really don't feel like in the TVZ here on this map it's going to be used nearly as much, obviously.
I mean, wow, this is actually very cool. It was a spawning pool first opening for Starbucks, so he sneaked a couple Zerglings across the map and is able to pick up that very first SCV. Reapers are just working on drones over here, trying to get a cheeky drone kill, but nothing has died yet. So far, good micro. Bunny's probably was looking at those Zerglings for a little bit on the other side of the map as well, but did not drop the ball when it comes to his Reaper opening.
On this map, I really don't think that Starbuck can even try the same thing, because it's going to be much easier, I feel, to lock down like on 2 or 3 bases, especially on 2. Like if Bunny just evacuates his 3rd base and then starts dropping, like on this map, the air distance is so short. Yeah. I actually played a PvP yesterday on this. Stargate against Stargate.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Easy win.
Phoenix against Oracle, Todd?
No, Phoenix against Phoenix. Come on, give me some credits.
Okay. There's a Reaper into the main base. But I must say, Starbuck has done a phenomenal job in just not losing any drones so far. He has lost 1 drone total. But against that 3 Reaper opening, while he also sneaks some Zerglings to the other side of the map, I think that's pretty damn awesome. Overlord is going to peek into the main base, and he's going to see that Bunny is indeed going up to 3 command centers. Ooh, this time the Reapers did get 2 additional drone kills. Sorry, guys. Completely missed it. Right before Zergling speed kicked in. Bunny playing with fire a little bit.
What do you make of the amount of gases that are being taken there?
For Starbuck?
Yeah. I guess it's not super early. He goes for his 2nd Evo around his natural. Interesting.
Could be part of a potential wall-off soon as well, in case he's worried about Hellions.
It's funny to go for double Evo like this and fast missile without a Roach Warren in the first place. Like he's delaying that a lot. Goes for that 3rd hatchery before. Maybe it's a mistake?
Hydra Knight, I thought.
With the 3rd base?
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Yeah, you never know with Starbuck, actually.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mentioned the Nidus earlier that he used against first. On a map like this,
Oh my god, I think he's in a lot of trouble actually. Thought, wow, that transfuse came out of nowhere. I didn't even think it was going to have enough energy for that one.
he's getting links. He already has speed, so they're going to come in very
Oh my
quickly.
god. That transfuse really saved him so much. I think otherwise he was in a lot of trouble. He didn't really have a whole lot of units out on the map. Now he cleans up these Reapers somehow, some way. Did he keep both queens alive? Oh my god, I think he did, right? Or maybe one died. Still though, it was a great defense because that could have gone pretty bad. Of course, Bunny has a very, very economic opening, so Bunny didn't really rely on his opening doing a whole lot of damage. Perhaps he's a little bit confused about what's going on as well. That's why he throws on his scan. He's like, so what are you doing, Starbuck? This doesn't really add up. You have like a little bit of everything. Got a bench in the main base for Bunny, who's doing a little bit of work, but not too much. It's so confusing watching Starbuck play. I feel Starbuck in that way is a little bit similar to how the other guys were joking about Guru, you know, how they always say that Guru is a legend, and then he just makes a whole lot of units, but then he's still pretty okay in the drone department. I kind of feel that Starbuck is a little bit similar to players like Guru and Bly, where it's not all super streamlined.
The
and
Elfie version.
yeah, it's basically the Elfie version of Zerg. You know, you don't really know how they do it, but they always have a hell of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's weird, actually, just looking at it. Like the way he went for double Evo, and then later on added the Roach Run. Has to make a lot of links, though, to defend, which I definitely feel was something that Bunny got going in his favor there. He really prevented a lot of drones from being made. And look at this. 48 SCVs to 41 drones.
Yeah.
It almost feels as if Starbuck has to all in.
He just made 11 drones, though, at once. Like, he's been saving up some larvae. He just made 11 drones right before those Hellions started knocking on that base. But
Look at this beautiful Paul Viking there.
he's getting +2 missile attacks now. Maybe it's just... I mean, there are a lot of ways to attack, right? Like, even if he's able to take down these rocks. So if Starbuck makes a massive shove with well-upgraded roaches, let's say 2-1 roaches, you start producing roaches as soon as you're on, let's say, 60-ish drones, you can make roaches for days, and there is a small chance that maybe he's able to overrun Bunny. Especially because Bunny does not have any tanks yet on the way this game. Perhaps Bunny was just convinced he was going to play against something like Zergling, Bane, Muda. Small run by as well, as the depots were lowered. And of course, there are so many entrances into the natural anyway. I like how Bunny is stacking up his SCVs immediately, making it really hard for these links to do the amount of damage that they were dreaming of.
Yeah, but this is going to get shut down here, and only 2 SCVs have been killed. Steam Pack just finished. And like I said, when you go for a style like this of a lot of roaches and you don't get neither Hydralisks or a Spire, Medivacs are going to reign supreme, you know, with being able to fly around and do well. But look at this. Starbuck gets a Spore in the main. I think he queued another one, but he actually started it in a place where he cannot start because no drone can make it there.
Okay.
So he's gonna oh no, he was going to move one.
Yeah, he was going to move on. Well, it's going to take a while until he is mined out. 2 Medivacs heading to the main base, but Starbuck is going to have enough units in position for this for now. I think it's just going to be nothing but roaches. And as soon
that
as
push is looking strong, by the way.
Yeah. No, it is, because Bunny doesn't really have a whole lot of units, and most of the units that he does have are actually in those 2 Medivacs on the other side of the map. There are no tanks yet. There is an exposed base here again. Well, exposed. There is a bunker with 3 Marines in it, but...
Starbuck might be trying to snowball this position there.
Yeah, I think...
97 army supply to 38.
That's massive. He's going to be able to kill a ridiculous amount of SCVs, but is he going to be able to win the game? That is the big question for now. He should probably retreat for a little bit. Don't fight in the range of all those bunkers, and just go for all these SCVs over here. There are so many SCVs up for grabs. And +2 is almost ready as well. You don't have to fight yet. There is a Widow Mine in the mix that does a little bit of damage, picks up 1 roach. Oh man, Starbuck just has so many roaches. Like, how does he do it, Todd? Like, his drone count didn't make any sense throughout the entirety of this game. But just like that, Starbuck evens up the series against Bunny, a pretty big favorite on paper, a pretty big favorite in the eyes of many StarCraft 2 fans out there. And you just look at this game, Todd. He makes Evo Chambers, he makes a couple Zerglings, goes back to droning, makes a few more Zerglings. On a certain point, the worker count was literally 44 for Bunny against 38, and Bunny had 3 CCs already. It's just like, okay, I think Zerg is like really far behind right now, right?
I think Bunny clearly underestimated this, and also like there's this thing where like he shut down this build in the first map pretty nicely, and then in the second game he's seeing somebody who's not making any roaches, who's struggling to hold on, making links, losing queens. He's like, I'm probably in a great position. Maybe he got a little bit overconfidence. And he probably thought at some point, like, what is he going to do next? he's not seriously considering doing the same thing with the way he lost in the first game. So then he starts dropping, being overly aggressive, doesn't prepare anything at home, and it plays right into Starbucks' hand. That's all he was waiting for.
I mean, that was pretty much the first serious drop that Bunny even attempted, though. Like, that was pretty much the very first time. Like, obviously, this is a massive commitment for Starbuck. He made 5-6 Overlords extra as well at 110 supply, just to free up as much supply as possible and just rally nothing but roaches across the map. And, you know, Dash Terminal, I mentioned it a little bit before. He didn't even have to take down the destructible rocks this time, but it's a difficult map to defend stuff like this, man. There are so many ways that they can go. There are so many circles they can run. You have to cover yourself with so many different areas as a Terran or as a Protoss, or even in ZVZ it becomes a very tricky matchup. That I understand that some pro gamers out there are not a fan of Dash Terminal, but I kind of like watching games on it. And I must say a couple of the most exciting games I've played have been on that map, actually.
I think if Bunny, though, if he had like one bunker in a good position behind his wall, is natural, and then like you were saying, like he needed a few tanks. I think if he had a few there, and then he went for that kind of drop, it makes a lot more sense against somebody that you know is just massing roaches and wants to fight on the ground.
I just think he picked up on that very late, Todd. I think you said it before. I don't think that Bunny expected Starbuck to make another push like that. I think Bunny was pretty confused.
It's like when I played you last time, and you didn't scout in the start of the game. And then I was like, he's not going to scout again, right? It's time to proxy. And then actually you didn't scout. And then you blamed me when I proxy oracled you. It's this mind game. Yeah, it's the same thing.
And what was
like
what was the outcome of that best of 5?
You don't expect people to do something again when it didn't work the first time. And in this case, I really think that Bunny probably was like thinking about this. He's like, or even like looking past that, Bunny, he knows that the drops are going to be expected. So he probably thought that Starbuck was going to focus on the defense. But Starbuck, he was actually going to focus on the offense no matter what. And with the reinforcements, like whatever was going to come out of these eggs, hatch out of these eggs, that's what he was going to send to reinforce back in his main to help and defend there.
Yep, and in the end, he didn't even have to defend because Bunny immediately realized that it's like red alert over here. That's way more roaches than I can deal with right now.
He had nothing at home. Really nothing, like 3 Marines, 1 Hellion against 16 roaches.
You know, but we have to give some credit as well to Starbuck that he did, like, part of StarCraft is always hiding stuff, right? And, like, making it hard for your opponent to figure out what you're really doing, what's really going on. And, like, we were confused watching it with Fog of War turned off, you know? So if you're Bunny in this phase, you're probably a little bit freaked out. It's like, what is he doing? That's why we saw him scan the natural as well. And he just didn't really see a whole lot. And it's like, well, I guess I'm doing all right over here, right? And then suddenly, it was a slightly different push than game number 1, because this time he had +2 missile attacks. He had 2 Evo chambers as well. It's really weird, because to me, this push looked a lot stronger, while it showed up later. But it had much better upgrades, and Bunny had a lot less than he had in the previous game. Either way, we're ready to hop into game number 3 on another interesting map. It's going to be Moonlight Madness. I kind of enjoyed this map too, Todd. I know it's a tricky one with all these rocks, all these destructible, you know, paths over here back into the potential natural world. Most of the time it's the third base. But I think this is a cool map. I've really enjoyed myself on this map. Todd just keeps giving me looks. He's like, well, I'm glad you're having a good time. I've lost way too many ladder points.
Yeah, I mean, that map can be tough sometimes.
Either way, over here on the left-hand side of Moonlight Madness, we're looking at the main base of our Slovenian Zerg. It is Starbuck. He's going up against Team Liquid's very own Bunny. Bunny, of course, a WCS Premier League veteran. This is a big series for Starbuck. If he is able to upset Bunny over here, Todd, that is the moment that a lot of StarCraft fans, you know, they will never forget to mention Starbuck again. That's pretty much the moment you immediately almost verify yourself as like one of the top Zergs in Europe. If you are able to defeat a player like Bunny in such a big best of 5 as this one, you know, that's very memorable.
Yeah, I know, because I've never been able to do it.
Did you ever play Bunny in Challenger?
No, but I played him in
Premier League.
Yeah, like I think once or twice.
You played him from America, I think, when you visited me. When
you didn't go well for me.
No, but I mean, you played from NA. That's difficult, though.
Thanks, Roddy.
Yeah, you know, I got you back. I got you a cappuccino that morning after you lost.
You got me a cappuccino.
It's going to be commencing the first over here on the low ground for Bunny. So another economic opening, rather passive, but of course could still follow it up with a little bit of aggression, but could also go much more economic with another command center. Starbuck went economic as well with his hatch first. No pull first this time. You know, I'm still amazed with looking at that last game. He just like it really felt like Starbuck was kind of freestyling it. You know, like how if you're a little bit new to StarCraft, you're just like make a few drones, make a few links, make a few queens, and then suddenly it all comes together as one big plan, and he just strikes and he hits so hard. I'm impressed, and we've got a real series on our hands over here, Todd.
Yeah. Starbucks really bringing it back. But again, I really feel like he was on Bunny too, kind of misreading the situation. I feel like if Starbuck keeps this up and plays similarly in every single map, Bunny's really going to pick up on it and, you know, have tanks ready in positions. The thing is, all these maps, they're kind of the same. Like, the space between the natural and third base is very, very far apart. So if on this map, you know, he rushes, say, the third base that's on the top left-hand side of his main, it's going to be really hard to secure it with tanks on both sides.
I kind of think that if there is one map out there that has to be good for crazy roach styles, I think I've seen Xian already play a couple great games on this map with a style like that. It has to be, as we see the first roach run go down already, might actually
That is
be
really fast.
maybe a super quick roach push this time, Todd. Maybe
50 shades of roaches.
maybe a good old moment attack over here of 21 or 22 drones. I'm going to give some credit to the French legend Moment.
If he goes above 22, it's not a moment.
Yeah,
anymore,
look at this.
so-
3 overlords in production, Todd. He's just going to go for it.
Oh boy.
Man, 50 shades of roach attack. That's just what it is. Like, there's a little different timing. And Bunny is going to have a...
He's going to have no idea. That's the thing.
No. I'm a little bit worried, Todd. I'm actually very worried.
He saw the gas early on, but can you actually see this coming when you're not playing against Bly, Roddy?
And I mean, what does that really mean? It could just be could just be zerging speed, right? To deal with it.
Yeah.
With whatever. It doesn't really mean anything. Oh my god, Bunny's going up to one more command center as well, Todd.
I don't know, Kev.
I don't know, Todd. This isn't looking all that good for Bunny right now.
The Roddy soundboard has appeared. He's going to start 2 Hellions here momentarily.
Oh, okay.
The thing is,
this
it's gonna
SUV, Todd.
Oh,
I'm not sure if it even makes much of a difference. Well,
Starbuck doesn't even care. He's going forward.
Okay.
Bam! Kills it.
He spots the roach. So what does Bunny do right now? Like, what do you do if you're Bunny, Todd?
Start 5 bunkers.
5 bunkers, but he doesn't even have 5 Marines.
Well, you get them. I don't know.
I really
actually-
don't know. Like, he scouts
Yeah, you need
it.
to transfer the Marines from bunker to bunker after they die.
Yeah,
He's
but-
going to be trying to get a Banshee, I think.
Yeah, I think that is
gonna take
probably his
forever.
best call. He's going to pull the SUVs immediately. Like, wow, Bunny just knows how long it takes for these roaches to make their way across the map. So he has a couple SUVs pulled already. He just needs to repair this bunker forever. I love how Starbuck is doing this. Some non-stop damage on the bunker, but he's also splitting up a couple of
Yeah.
roaches to shoot at
He's
the
putting the
SUVs.
exact good amount of
Yeah.
roaches here on the SCVs, by the way. Just like
Yep.
2 or 3 every time. So far, the bunker is holding strong. SCVs are being sent here from the main. So far, the bunker is holding on.
Yes, Bunny is going to survive, but the big question is how many SUVs is he going to lose in the end. This bunker, I think, is going to fall right now. One more wave of roaches and it's going to fall. But of course, there should be enough units over here for Bunny to defend. During all of this, Starbuck has been droning though, and he created a 20 worker advantage for himself. Now that sounds a little bit more exciting than it actually is, because soon Bunny will be able to return the favor with Hellions, with Banshees. I think if I was Starbuck here, I would go for almost a full wall of.
Yeah, actually, a single queen there. He's not getting
Yeah.
any spine. He's getting 4 roaches and 8 zerglings.
I actually think that Starbuck should have rallied more roaches across
Oh,
the
that
map.
one queen blocks.
I think if he would have gone super all in, there's a good chance he would have won. Now it was kind of like a
Yeah, but he
haul.
didn't have speed, though.
You mean Zergling speed?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
I don't think you can finish with loading, so he would have had to get more roaches. I don't know, it's pretty risky. Like, one bench, he would have shut him down eventually, no?
Like he's up 50, yeah, but like one bench he can only do so much. Maybe he could have had Zergling speed behind it. Of course, that changes the entire build. It doesn't really matter anymore. We don't have to cast this hypothetical game that's not going on. But what we do know is that despite the fact that Bunny lost 15, 16 SCVs, I think he's okay-ish. He's down 14 workers, but he has a cloaked Banshee. Well, half cloaked Banshee. It's going to be cloaked in a couple minutes.
Yeah. The spore is actually going to finish. And that Banshee is taking a lot of damage there. He's going to get cornered.
Yes, be careful. You don't want to lose.
Oh, there's
it.
no queen in the main.
At least there's an overseer already keeping track of it. But still, though, like this is just the beginning. Like I think Banshee, excuse me, Bunny. That's Banshee. Bunny's Banshee, or the Banshees of Bunny. They will be able to do quite a bit of damage in the upcoming minutes, and I think.
Nidus.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. That is, I actually think, one of his best options. In all honesty. Oh, there's another Banshee heading across.
Where
the
is
map.
he going to be, though? In the natural?
Look at this
Yes,
Overlord.
yeah, the Overlords. Oh, he was going to be around The
Man,
third base, maybe?
I almost feel that Starbuck is thinking, or excuse me, that Bunny is already thinking about this. Because he probably saw the amount of queens. He's like, hey, you've got a lot of queens.
He's checking the entire
Oh man,
area there.
if this Banshee would have just flown to the main base, it would have been so much better for Bunny. Now instead he's gonna fly to this Natchery, and this is gonna give him a false
His
sense
factory
of
is flying.
security.
Why is his factory flying? He needs to land that.
Oh god, Nidus networking detected.
There we go.
Bunny sees it. It's on the minimap. But does he really see it? He's gonna, he sees it. He's gonna put the SCVs. Oh wow. Okay, this is
huge.
massive. This is so good for Bunny.
Getting a Nidus at this stage in the game with this low an economy here is a huge investment for Starbuck. The first one gets shut down, and you know what happens when the first one gets shut down?
Yep.
Well, every other one then you're going to be ready for.
Yeah, Starbuck realizes that he can't really get it up anymore somewhere behind enemy lines, so he's gonna go for the Nidus outside of the natural.
A tank here would be nice, and that's exactly what he's getting. It's on the way now.
Oh, Bunny's so close to spotting it. He hears it. Bunny now probably knows that this is a rather defensive Nidus, that it's not going to be super, super close. He's going to spot it over here. Let's be careful. Don't want to lose those Banshees. Army supply, we're looking at 50 against 39, but like you mentioned, Todd, there is a tank on the way. One Banshee does get sniped immediately, and Transfuse actually keeps all of the Queens alive. Roaches take down this bunker, but there is a tank. There is a tank on the high ground, and that should...
Oh, that overseer.
That
Quite
should be all
there.
he needs, right?
And another Nidus went up in the main there.
Oh, okay. Now things are getting interesting. He needs to unload really, really quickly, and that's what he does. Where are the Queens?
Oh, Roaches are coming out very quickly. SCVs are starting to die left and right there. They're going to be tanking for the Hellions Marines and the Banshee here to clean up. And Starbuck is found his way in the main, but I don't know at what cost, Kev.
Transfuse. Well, with a lot of transfuses, he's actually doing a serious amount of work over here. Skill 25 SCVs.
Wow.
There is one tank, and it's exposed. Is this second Nidus really going to do the job over here for Starbuck? I almost feel like it looks almost like that. The Tech Lab does finish up with Stim. So Bunny has Stim, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of units anymore. Look at this one Banshee. That's pretty much all he has. I think Stardust has done it. Or Starbuck, excuse me.
Oh, man. Starbuck with the Nidus here. We talked about this in the pregame, and he brings it here in this game after the initial Roach rush that, I guess, put him ahead in terms of workers. And now for him to do this behind and have so much that he actually swarms Bunny.
I mean,
this is a big upset here if Starbuck wins Bunny.
I don't think, that's a massive upset. I don't think anyone would have ever predicted this. Bunny's still trying to hang in there, but it's 32 supply against 106 now. It really all comes down, Todd, to the good old distraction Nidus. Like we said it, most of the time when the first one gets sniped behind enemy lines, it's pretty much important to get a Nidus up. GG is called. Starbuck, perhaps against all odds, takes a 2-1 lead over the WCS veteran, the highest ranked non-Korean in the world at the moment, Liquid's very own Bunny. It's not over yet, Todd, but 2-1 Starbuck.
Man, it's crazy because this really felt like a last attempt too. You know, he tried for the first Nidus, it got shut down, and he's like, I'm going to guess a Nidus outside, distract him, and go for one in the main. And usually if that one gets sniped, it's like, I guess you can just leave because you're not going to bust the wall at the natural with the bunker and the siege tank in position. So he goes for the one in the main, he comes out, but he's like, oh my god, I need to pull SCVs, go for the fight. But in the end, there's just too much.
There's a lot of stuff happening, and you know it's funny to see this because I've died to this multiple times. You know, like I see the first Nidus, I'm like, awesome, you know, I get it, and then the second one goes outside of my main. I was like, well, I can't really do much about that because I'm sitting behind a full wall of. But you know, go ahead, Nidus outside of my main, and then I'm so prioritized, I'm so focused, and then suddenly you hear this scary sound of a Nidus again, like, and you're like, where is it? And then suddenly it's in your main, and you're like, oh man, like I should have seen that. And here you can see that, like, in series like this, maybe the pressure does get a little bit to Bunny because, you know, if he would be 100% focused and, you know, and pays full attention, he could see that not a blip on his minimap, but there's, I guess, just too much going on.
He's probably really not used of playing against this as well because, like, Bunny, you know, he's used of having big armies and fighting Linkbane Muta.
Yep.
I don't think he's too used of facing Roaches and Niduses going up a little bit all over the place. And I really feel like this kind of cheese, too. It's like, if you had a few unfortunate games recently where you had to face this and it went bad for you, then it's really going to be on your mind. But if it hasn't happened for a long time, you cannot forget about the strength of this stuff and how well it can do if you're not ready. And in this case, Bunny was completely not ready.
Man, it must be so scary for Bunny right now. Bunny has to win 2 maps in a row against a Zerg that has a playstyle that's definitely out there a little bit. You know, that's in the range of a Bly and, you know, the other crazy Zergs that we've seen over the last few years. How do you approach game number 4 in such an important moment? Like, I really did not even think that we were talking about this. These are always the hypothetical scenarios that we sketch in the start of the cash. You know, like, hey guys, important best of 5. You know, obviously for Bunny, there's a lot on the line, but then you kind of just expect things to go from there, and you expect it to be smooth sailing for Bunny. Now suddenly, there is a very realistic chance that Bunny does get eliminated in Challenger, and I don't even know. My mind will be blown. Thought I'm not ready for that. He's the highest ranked non-Korean in the world at the moment, and now he's down 2 against 1 against Starbuck. We're loading into game number 4. It's going to be played on Cactus Valley. One of the most important games. Suddenly, this becomes one of the most important games that this man on the left bottom side of Cactus Valley has played in quite a while. It is Liquid's very own Bunny. Team Liquid, it does so well in general when it comes to WCS. Last season was phenomenal. So far, Challenger, they're 1 out of 2. Unfortunately, my country buddy Red did not make it yesterday against Hero Marine. Mana did make it though. He was down 0-2, so hopefully Bunny can get a lot of positive vibes out of that remarkable comeback we saw yesterday. And it's going to have to happen against this man. Over here on the right bottom side of Cactus Valley, it is Starbuck. What a guy, Todd.
Yeah, and now we're on Cactus Valley, a 4-players map where if you go for roaches, you're going to have quite a few, you know, alleys that you can go through. Niduses as well. Gonna have a lot of room to plant them down if you want.
Oh my man, I'm like getting nervous over here. I don't know why I'm getting nervous lately when I'm watching these games. It's just for
the passion, Roddy.
But like for these guys, you know, the more time that we talk with them, you know, and let's just mention Blink for instance. Like we see him at Homesteader Cup, and everyone always thinks like, Blink, such a big party guy. Like he's been working so hard, training so much. You know, doesn't even go out on the final night, just stays home, let us all night. WCS means so much to some of these guys, and we also know that, we said it before, Bunny is such a dedicated professional. It's a really big series. Can't really emphasize it, can't really put it in words. Only if you're one of those guys, you truly feel how much it, or like you just see how much it means to them. And it's really, man. Big moment, very, very, very big moment over here for Bunny. He's going to open up rather safely, Todd. No
Was that a really fast barracks, though?
It wasn't
a pretty fast one. Was that 11-11?
It's a little bit fast, but I don't think it was crazy fast. Might be, this is not the greatest repair map out there. Starbuck on the other end did go.
Yeah, that's why Starbuck won't expect it.
Yeah, but what are you really going to do with just 1 or 2 repairs? Like, it's still Cactus Valley. It's still, it takes a while before new reaper number 2 and 3. So I don't think this is a huge commitment. Bunny's just playing this very safe. I think Bunny realizes that playing against Starbuck, what he needs is map presence all the time. He pretty much always needs units on the other side of the map to figure out what the hell this crazy Zerg player is doing. And I think that's the best way to approach it. Don't go CC first. Don't play the same way as you would play against, let's say, Hydra, you know, or anyone like that. Like, you want to have some map presence. You really got to keep him in check, and you want to see what's going on all the time.
I think the locations, actually, starting locations here are pretty fortunate for Bunny. If this had been cross-map, he would have taken forever to go there. And also, he didn't scout very early as well. So he was really counting on Starbuck being there. 3rd Reaper on the way already.
3 Reaper opening, probably into Hellions. There is a command center going down on the low ground, though. So it's not some sort of super crazy all-in build over here from Bunny. I must say, Todd, credit where credit is due. Starbuck has really been on point when it comes to small things like drone micro. I've been really impressed. Like, I've seen bigger, you know, bigger names lose multiple drones in this phase in the game, you know, like, try to morph into a spore. Oh, sorry, man, it was blocked by my own drone. Oh, Zergling was in the way. And sometimes you see even very good Zergs bleeding out 1, sometimes even 2 drones. Starbuck so far in every single game has really been on the money. It seems like he's not very nervous or anything like that.
Yeah, doing pretty well with that. Some players, it's funny how, you know, they focus a lot on this aspect of the game. They want to make sure that they don't lose anything to harassment. At the end of the day, it can be really difficult. Finally, you're going to
jinxed him.
Hashtag Roddy Curse.
Starbuck has speed finishing up soon. No, it does get a Reaper, so that's not too bad. Picking up one of these Reapers, that's going to weaken the follow-up push from Bunny a little bit. Bunny has another command center going down, but it is in the main base. Would have been cool if he would have just gone for a ninja base, though. Just put it in the left top side of the map. Scare the Zerg. Bring Starbuck's game to Starbuck. Be like, hey, I'm going to 2-base on you, and then actually he has a ninja base. That would be sick.
I don't know about that. If he gets found.
No, Todd. You just do those things.
Roachhorn going down at the same time, or just shortly, I guess, after Lair started there. And those links, they can get some kills there. It'd be nice, but they're going to get shut down no matter what.
2 SCVs. I actually think that's okay. 5 speed links for 2 SCVs. I think it's all right. Did Starbucks spot this third command center? He didn't yet. He may expect that it's there. I would love to see some mobility or some movement out of this one Overlord. Come on, mate. You want to see what the follow-up is. Unless he's just so sure that Bunny is doing the same thing as he normally does, because he is such a macro-oriented player.
So yeah, some Zergs, instead of sacrificing an Overlord and having to remake one, they just get a Spore, even against Protoss.
I can't blame it. I mean, if you don't know what's going on, most of the time it's something something that can deal a lot of damage to your workers. It's either invisible or flies, or both. In the case of Avenge.
That sounded great.
Yeah.
We should make a motto out of like a T-shirt, Roddy's face. It's either invisible or flies or both. Roddy P.
Over here, these Hellions and Reapers just cruising along. Bunny keeping Starbuck in check so far. Spotted the evolution chambers though. The Roach Warren is going down once more. I think it's hard. I don't.
Oh,
really
he's gonna get in.
Yeah, okay, this could be a successful little run, but maybe he gets a surround or two of these Hellions. He's gonna get some damage done. I really love how Starbuck always splits up his forces pretty much immediately. Like the way he was executing that Roach attack early on Moonlight Madness. That's something I really enjoyed. Like this kind of reminded me a little bit of Tempest Micro, you know, when you have
like Warcraft players, no?
yeah, like just making sure they don't have overkill, right? And he did it fluently, and it was like flawless right from the get-go. It wasn't like 12 roaches shoot at the bunker. It's like, oh, now 7 roaches shot an SV. It's like, no, it's 3, 9, 3, 9, 3, 9. He was doing a really phenomenal job with it. Very, very cool to see.
Starbuck going into a lot of roaches, you know, in the first games and just making a ton of them. I really wonder if Bunny might be thinking here about going into a lot of Banshees, you know, stopping maybe at like 6 before finally going to Medivacs.
6 Banshees?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
enough is enough.
Yeah.
You want to go mass roaches and no Hydras.
Yeah.
You got to teach him.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea, actually. Like, it sounds funny because you don't see it a whole lot, but yeah, I can live with that idea, Todd. We're going to see a bunch of roaches march across the map. Once again, there is no bunker, Todd. There are a lot of units out of position. Bunny is going to drop a little bit. Might actually end up losing one of his precious Banshees. No, not yet. But look at all these roaches.
Oh, my God.
Bunny, all of your units are out of position. This Banshee is so important. He really can't afford to lose it.
Knock.
He does have a bunch of Marines in the main base. I think Bunny might be able to hold it eventually, but he's supply block now as well. He lost so many depots already. Oh my God, I'm so worried. What are these Hellions doing, Bunny? Use anything. You can pretty much use every single unit right now. He's going to lose a lot of SCV stuff.
Oh my God, he's already lost 18.
Yeah, he should stabilize on a certain point if he can get the Banshee home.
2 Widow Mines just came out, but I mean, lost 26 SCVs. He's going to lose way more. Starbuck now doubling the supply of Bunny. And this guy picked one hell of a time.
But I'm looking at the numbers now, Todd. I am so extremely worried. Bunny only used half of his units that he could have had. And a 37 drone massive roach attack here for Starbuck. It's basically another huge all-in. Even though he's sitting on 3 hatcheries, right? He has an evolution chamber, but 37 drones, you can't really take that very serious. That's not transitional, you know. Like, obviously you will do guaranteed damage with these roaches, but you need to do a crazy amount of roach of damage with it. And he's doing that. It's a 107 supply against 55. It's a 70 army supply against 26. Stim is finishing up, but there are 3 Marines left. I think it's pretty much over.
It's going to be really tough.
Unless it's a miraculous hold with the Banshee and the Hellions can do some damage on the other side of the map. But
you know how, like, sometimes you need to play a lot more passive against something. It really feels like Bunny didn't realize how strong this army was going to be, and he's still... Like, he was playing now as if he was playing against a guy, you know, that's just playing standard Link, Bane, Muta. But you can't do that against roaches and a wild player like Starbuck that loves on attacking, so the attack here is still going on.
The mines are getting some reasonable hits. Finally, these Hellions started to be active, but it's a little bit late. More and more SCVs will die over here, Todd. There's absolutely no saving those. The Banshee did make it home, but that is that one Banshee. Oh my God, I mean, that one Banshee has so much work to do.
Yeah.
There is a bunker with 2 Marines in it. 49, 50 SCVs have gone down. The mines are going to shoot again soon. If these roaches stay as clumped up as they currently are, these mines can really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, but I mean, there's more and more coming every time. These roaches, you step on 1, 10 more come out, Roddy. Just never ends. This Banshee, like, got the most work. to do I've seen ever from a Banshee, and it's now 69 army supply to 16. 0 SCVs left for Bunny.
It's 0 SCVs. I mean, he does a, orbital command. Mules are good. Contaminate being used on the starport as well. It does not matter. GG is called. And wow, one of the absolute biggest upsets that I've seen in Challenger in a long, long time. Bunny, semi-finalist of WCS Premier League Season 1, semi-finalist of Premier League Season 2, highest non-Korean in the world at the moment when it comes to WCS points, is eliminated by Starbuck, our Slovenian Zerg. Fantastic series for Starbuck. Really showed us a creative, unique Zerg style, and I would even say the right way to approach a best of 5 against Bunny.
Well, I mean, yeah, to some extent, definitely brought his own touch and used something that Bunny just didn't seem to be able to adjust to properly, which is very unfortunate for him. I did not expect this. I think out of all the matches that we had today, this probably was going to be one of the most sure things. You were one of those guys, actually, that said, I could totally see Starbuck do well. I was like, Roddy, come on. You always say the same thing. You pick one player and you're like overhyping him. But nope, you were right. Yeah, what was it that made you feel that way?
I mean, like, I'm not going to say that if you would give me a bet and I would get an even payout on both players that I'd put my money on Starbuck, because then I'd be lying. But I just kind of felt that, this is like such a big moment for him, probably one of the biggest best of 5s that he's ever played. Doesn't really have a whole lot to lose. And I know that he's a crazy type of Zerg. And most of the time, whenever you're a player like that, either everything goes well or it all falls down, it all comes crumbling down.
Kind of like Daishi.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Daishi was on the wrong side of things. Like, it was just, when it rains, it pours, and it was definitely pouring for Daishi. But for Starbuck, it just all came together. And man, it's really that Nidus play, in my opinion, on Moonlight Madness, like the distraction Nidus outside, renewing it into the Nidus into the main.
Which is a classic.
Yes.
It's a classic.
I know.
But we've been losing to this for years.
Yeah, but it was a great move, and that really changes the entire series. 2-1 or 1-2, like losing on Dash Terminal. Bonnie probably looked at it, like, okay, I didn't expect that, but yeah, whatever, you drop him up. And then suddenly you look at Moonlight Madness. Bonnie was in control, defended the first Nidus, and then you know that it's going to well for you. But Starbuck, with a great move, just completely turned the series on its head and just finished it off over here on Cactus Valley. I'm very impressed with him, and obviously very happy. At the same time, very sad that we won't see Bonnie in Premier League Season 3, but it's the way it is.
He'll be back next year, I'm sure. And Starbuck, a big, big result, man. I can't wait to see him in Premier League. After games like this, I think a lot of people, especially Zerg players that want to learn, they're going to be turning their eyes to this guy for inspiration, because this was refreshing, I guess, to see something different for once. You can see a lot of amazing games, see Link, Bane, Muda, but at the end of the day, being able to mix it up, play a little bit differently, always is refreshing, no matter what.
And I mean, there is so much on the line, right? Just making it into Premier League, even if you lose every single game, in Premier League, the players will walk away with $4,500. That is so much money. You look at Bonnie, you know that he has one of the best mechanics in Europe. Playing him in long, drawn-out games with Ling, Mura, Micro, or Ling, Bane, Mura, Stark probably realized, like, I don't like my chances, in those scenarios. Maybe I can get a map in a best of 5, but it's going to be very different. So I need to approach this in my own way, in my own unique way, with a unique playstyle, and he did it. Wow. Congratulations to our second player of the day that made it into WCS Premier League. Definitely a huge upset. Todd and me need a couple minutes to recover, and after that we'll be back with our third series of the day, talking about crazy Zergs. It's going to be Bly on fire against Liquid's very own TLO.